So let's get straight into this list. You know what this is. We love lists here on the #1 college football show. We're going 5-1 here. So at number 5, I got Clemson on the board. Clemson, I think, is going to improve by at least a touchdown simply because they hired the Broyles Award winner from 2022 in Garrett Riley to run their offense. This is a great time to remind you that I have a Broyles Award vote in 2023, and I will be watching Garrett Riley and others very closely as we get into the season. Now, I think it bears mentioning that Garrett Riley did more with less at Texas Christian than Clemson did last year. The evidence is in playing in the college football playoff, sure, right? The evidence is having Max Duggan make the Heisman finalist list, sure. But I like to look at statistics, right? I think, yeah, they give us an opportunity to say, this is one reason why this works. It's by no means a way of saying it will work because of this. But I think it's important to mention that you haven't seen a 3,000-yard passer at Clemson since 2020 when Trevor Lawrence was the quarterback. You also haven't seen a 3,000-yard passer combined with a 1,000-yard rusher in the same season at Clemson since 2019. Trevor Etienne had over 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 1,600 yards on the ground, and Trevor Lawrence had 3,600 yards through the air. Now, Max Duggan basically did what Trevor Lawrence did in 2019. 3,600 yards through the air, 32 TDs, 8 interceptions. Kendre Miller, 1,399 yards on the ground. You take Garrett Riley, take that offense, you layer it over the top of the talent that Clemson has, and you can see them going from 30th in the country at 33.2 points per game to getting closer to that 40 points a game that Michigan put up when it won the Big Ten championship last year and played in the college football playoff. I also think it's important to point out that Texas Christian was a national title runner-up. You're going to hear it. You're going to hear it. I'm not going to stop saying it because that has upended what expectations are for everybody. They were 5-7 in 2021. They did not win the Big 12 championship. They did play for the college football playoff. You put Clemson in that spot. Maybe they don't win against Michigan. Maybe they beat them. Maybe they make it more of a game against Georgia. Certainly. 65-7, that is the worst bowl beatdown anybody's ever seen. Period. That was the national championship game. So that is the reason I think they're there as one of the 5 best improved offenses in 2025. Number 4 on the list, the University of Texas. Now, this is another reminder that Texas Christian made the college football playoff, national championship game, had a Heisman finalist in the college football playoff era before Texas did. Damn it, Texas. You know, y'all got to get tired of hearing this, right? You got to get tired of me saying pardon my language or anybody else saying pardon my language if they're a Longhorns fan and then describing the Texas football program. Somehow this has got to get under your skin at some point. I mean, the hair raising, y'all had a nun clutching her habit in church with the way that y'all have played these seasons with this talent, man. Xavier Worthy's on this team. A.D. Mitchell's on this team. Isaiah Nayer's on this team. Jordan Whittington's on this team. Dante Cook is on this team. C.J. Baxter is on this team. Quinn Ewers is your starting quarterback. Help me help you. Help me help you. I'm a Sooner, for crying out loud. Help me help you. You're not even supposed to be in this list according to the folks that's on the tweets. I'm supposed to be caping for Oklahoma here in this spot. But here I got Texas. And I got Texas because I got Quinn Ewers out here talking about getting a PhD in quarterbacking from Steve Sarkisian. Now, that's a former #1 overall recruit. But that is also due to basically played his freshman year last year. Had 2,177 yards here, according to my rundown, 15 pass TDs, 6 INTs last year. That's decent. It's not what we expect from a #1 overall recruit. Now, I'll also add in there, yeah, he was injured. He got hit, knocked out of the game against Alabama on the 40 acres in the game that, frankly, they still should have won. All Bert Auburn has to do is make the field goal before halftime and probably talk about Texas beating Alabama before Tennessee does. Now, I also need to add in here that Steve Sarkisian has had a 1,000-yard back every year that he's been calling plays since he was at Alabama in 2020. Now, the tailbacks he's had, Najee Harris, Bijan Robinson, we'll see what he does this year. I get it, but that's also offensive line play, and that's also scheme. So you're going to be in position to score. You're going to be in positions to be great. But I got to put it out there, man. 34.5 points per game from Texas, that ain't getting it done. Even when you had the best tailback this side of Cedric Benson in Bijan Robinson. You had a first-round pick at tailback, and you couldn't manage to make forget the college football playoff. You couldn't manage to make the Big 12 championship. But you got dudes. You have a great offensive play caller. There is no reason why you should not be one of the most improved offenses in all of college football. 34.5 a game should be 42 a game. I don't care if the Big 12 is as thick as it is through the middle. When are you going to start acting like I can only help you so much when people are dunking on you for saying Texas is back and it's a joke. I'm being very serious about that. I can't do much more than this, except point out to everybody what I do every preseason. Based on the roster, based on the recruiting, based on the coaching staff, based on the competition, this is who I think is going to be good. Now, if it ends up being Texas Christian playing in the national championship game at 5-7, hell, nobody saw that coming, and I'm here to be wrong. But you look at this and you tell me why Texas is not going to be good, and all you can tell me is, well, they're never good. I hate that. I like empirical data. I like numbers. I like making sense of the world. Okay, number 3 on the list, Notre Dame. 9-4 with a loss to 3-9 Stanford. 9-4 with a loss to Marshall at your house. 9-4, but the ND faithful, and I'm going to read this line, finished 2022 looking more sick and angry than a bunch of tax professionals at Deloitte who found out that their suite seats have been bought out by the PIF. Somehow, y'all got 9 wins out of that football team. 9 wins out of Drew Pine, who was so good he transferred to Arizona State last year. 9 wins with Tyler Buckner playing the first game and the last game and then losing the job and going into the portal. So why the hell do I think that they're going to have an improved offense? One name and one name only. Sam Hartman, okay? Best quarterback Notre Dame has seen since Brady Quinn. Might be the best quarterback that they have had on resume in Notre Dame history, okay? 3,700 yards passing and 38 TDs, 12 INTs in 2022. 4,200 yards passing, 39 TDs, 14 picks in 2021. And that junk statistical year 2020, we're not really counting because it's garbage. And then you're playing behind store brand Cam Newton or AKA Jamie Newman in 2019. Neither Logan Diggs nor Audric Estime rushed for over 1,000 yards last year. Okay? Neither. Logan Diggs went in the portal, came out. Audric Estime ought to get 200 carries in this season. He can handle it. You've seen that dude, right? That's a battering ram they got back there. The only question in our mind right now is who is Sam Hartman going to be throwing the football to? And you know what? I got an answer for that on you. The answer that I got is Jerry Parker's going to figure it out. He's new offensive coordinator at Notre Dame. And the reason he's going to figure it out because he's tight ends coach. You might have remembered his last pupil was Michael Mayer, who is the most prolific tight end in Notre Dame history. And this is the program that produced Kyle Rudolph and Tyler Eifert, among others. Okay? I also think that he's going to identify which one of those dudes has the stickiest hands, and he is going to feed him like a goose they're trying to make a liver into foie gras for. Okay? You're going to get a steady diet, whomever you are. And the reason I know this is that is what his passes indicated. When he's wide receiver coach at Marshall, they had the number 1 passing attack in the game, 365.1 pass yards per game. That same year, he produced a 110 catch receiver. Rakeem Cato, which is a name that most of y'all don't know, and Chub Two Shame the Devil didn't know was a college football player, had over 4,200 yards passing that year. Okay? I'm talking about a dude that went to West Virginia as an offensive coordinator, turned Winston Wright into a dude, turned Bryce Ford Wheaton into a dude. I am talking about a guy who has basically pushed the bounds of what we can expect from wide receivers we haven't seen hide nor hair of that all of a sudden pop up with 90 catches in a game. If you are trying to find a comp, I get the people are going to be talking about their personnel, right? Tight ends, and they're going to run the ball. But if you take a look at Andy Isabella at UMass, you take a look at Jordan Addison at Pitt, you're beginning to get an idea of what I think this offense is going to look like in the pass attack. And if it is Sam Hartman, it's going to be accurate. Now, if you get that dude more than one guy to throw the football to, by all means, spray it. But I think they're going to be better than they were last year because this year they got a quarterback. Last time I checked, that was the most important position in the sport. And now you got a dude. Thought he was going to end up at Alabama there for a hot second, and then that man's going to show up in the weight room talking about let's get it. And Jared Parker is a guy that understands football simple. Get the ball to your best player. Hell, that might be Chris Tyree, who's playing wideout now. My goodness. If you got 4-3 in the slot, yeah, throw him the ball. Let him go do something in the open field with it. That's a great recipe for success. I mean, just let Sam Hartman cook like a Michelin star chef, and we're going to be all right. Number 2 on the list here, I got Texas A&M for the reasons that I got Texas. Okay? Texas A&M has done so little with so much. We are talking about a team that went 5-7 last year and got robbed in broad daylight. Put the money in the bag against Appalachian State. We are talking about a program whose most productive passer last year was Haynes King, who passed for, I kid you not, 1,220 yards. Hell, Devin A-Chain rushed for 1,100 yards. Haynes King is quarterback at Georgia Tech now. You're on the Connor Weigman train now. But you brought in Bobby Petrino. Now, I am here for the social politics of Bobby Petrino calling plays for Jimbo Fisher. That in and of itself has my attention. That is going to be so much fun to watch. But I can tell you, a guy like Jimbo Fisher is really having to swallow some pride to bring Bobby Petrino in to run his offense. Again, the idea, the identity, the image of Jimbo Fisher we have is one with with glasses on and a play card in his hand going down the sheet. The image that is seared into my brain is Jameis Winston walking up to Jimbo Fisher when he was on the bench and saying, Jameis, you better sit your ass down or you might not play the rest of the year. That's how Jimbo Fisher got it. Jimbo Fisher had it so good that Nick Saban hired him to be his offensive coordinator and didn't touch him. That man has got Bobby Petrino calling plays for him now. But you got dudes. You got dudes. It's a Texas problem over there. It's a Texas problem in the SEC. Hello, Texas. Are you paying attention? It can happen to you. A&M is not on this list because they're good. They're on this list because they're bad. That's why you were on this list too. Okay? So get your burnt orange colored glasses off and get some work done. Get your maroon colored glasses off and get some work done. I don't want to hear no more about no Aggie network. I don't want to hear no more about the farmers. I want to see explosive offense down there in College Station. Well, I don't want to hear not near one word. Zip up. 12th man and all that. Be quiet. 5-7? Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, number 1 on the list, Colorado. Why is Colorado number 1 on the list? Well, last year, their best quarterback, most prolific quarterback, J.T. Stroud, threw for as many yards as Haynes King did. 1,220, 7 TDs, 8 INTs last year. Now they brought in Shedeur Sanders, who, yes, is the son of Deion Sanders, but also passed for 3,700 yards, 40 TDs, and 6 picks last year. There were only two other quarterbacks to do that. 3,500, 40 TDs, 6 or fewer picks. C.J. Stroud's one of them, number 2 in the draft this year. Caleb Williams is the other, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. And all y'all can tell me is that the FCS is not the FBS. My goodness, man, if y'all don't hold a grudge, I'm telling you, he completes 70% of his passes. That's not an accident. Now, oh man, they lost the best receiver that they had last year in Montana Lamonius Craig. A name none of y'all had heard until he was on ESPN playing in the spring game. Man caught 23 passes for 339 yards, and y'all already talking about, well, they lost a dude that could play. That's Travis Hunter over there. You gonna look at me with a straight face and tell me Travis Hunter can't play? Travis Hunter can't do better than 23 catches, 339 yards in one season of football? Get out of here. We're also talking about an offense that ranked, let me make sure I got this right in the notes, 127th out of 131 teams. Fourth from the bottom. Won one football game last year. Gave up 44.5 points per game. 44.5 they gave up. They scored 15.4. Yes, Colorado will have the most improved offense, the most improved defense in football this year because they were that bad last year. Now, as I hit the microphone, I got to throw out things when we're talking about most improved offenses, though, like scoring offense. I'm beginning to believe that scoring offense, that is actually the offense putting points on the board, might be a junk statistic. Do you know why I think that that might be a junk statistic? Because the number 13 scoring offense in the country last year was James Madison. Now, no disrespect to James Madison, but James Madison finished ahead of LSU, who won the SEC West title last year, Ole Miss, Notre Dame, Texas, Clemson, Florida, in this statistic. Okay? So when I'm taking a look at these 5 teams here, know that what goes into it is not just scoring offense. Okay. I also add in here that Georgia had the number 5 scoring offense in the country and the number 5 scoring defense in the country. So you got to accidentally Thanos your way into a national championship if that's what we're talking about. But we're only talking about most improved here. So given that Nick Saban has turned to Tommy Rees to return Alabama to being the brawler that likes to taste the blood of your blood on their teeth, maybe they will improve too, but it's going to be hard to improve on 44.1 points per game. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.